Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Theo, and I love to talk about horror movies and shows now. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the new Amazon original series, The Bondsman. So I thought I would start this one out by saying a little bit about the plot for The Bondsman, and then we'll go into a little bit of detail about the episodes leading up to the finale. There will be spoilers, so just know that ahead of time. If you haven't watched the show, come back and watch us later. Let me know what you think about this show in the comments below as we go. So The Bondsman is a new Prime original TV show. It is about 8 episodes long, and it stars Kevin Bacon and Jennifer Nettles. Those are the two main characters of this show. So Kevin Bacon's character gets killed, and he is resurrected by the devil. He finds out to come back and hunt demons that are escaping from hell. In each episode, we get a little bit more character development and a little bit more of the plot details as we build up through the 8 episodes, getting to the finale. And I think it's done well. I won't say that this show is like the best show I've ever seen, but it is very watchable if you like action, horror, comedy, all those things kind of blended together. That's what you're going to get in a lot of minute details throughout the Bondsman TV series. Throughout the 8 episodes, Hub kind of figures out why he's brought back by the devil, and that is explained to him through a lady called Minge. She basically is like the hired hand of the devil, basically. She has to get signatures from different people in order to collect souls, is what her job is, and she is sent to explain to Kevin Bacon's character, Hub Halloran, that he is going to be fighting for the devil to send demon spirits back down to hell. Some other big names in this one. Jennifer Nettles, she's in this. She's actually developing a very good acting career. She's in The Righteous Gemstones as well. A lot of her roles do have to do with singing because she is a country music star. She's done a lot of work in the country music scene. She's worked with Bon Jovi, I know that. So, I mean, she's kind of branching off to make her own kind of like acting career too, and I respect that. And she plays a good role in this. So she does a lot of like, her character is that she is Hub Halloran's ex-wife, and they have a son together, and basically she has this new boyfriend whose name is Lucky, who is also responsible for Hub Halloran's death. He's a hired hand. He's part of an old mafia scene. He has a lot of bad rep. And essentially they find out that that Lucky is responsible for Hub's death. Damon Harriman, he plays Lucky Callahan. And like I was saying, he is like this developed character in this show who is responsible for Hub Halloran's death. And he's trying to cover it up like he didn't do anything, like he wasn't responsible for it, like he didn't have his men put the hit out that got Hub killed. So that it's being kind of like under wraps during the show until it all kind of spiderwebs out of control. But he does a good job in this show at playing like this evil, like wannabe country southern, like villain kind of character, and it's very, very well done. He does very well with it. Now, the last 2 remaining characters that are part of the main cast here, they have to do with the remaining members of Hub's family. One's name is Kitty, one's name is Cade, and they are played by Max Jenkins, who plays Cade, and then Beth Grant, who I've not really seen too much of either of these characters, so I don't know too much about them. But she plays Kitty, who is Hub's mom, and I think that she is probably my favorite character in this show. A lot of people are probably pushing toward Kevin Bacon's character in this show, but Kitty Halloran for me, who's played by Beth Grant, she stole every episode for me. The stuff she said, the way she acted, maybe it's just the way that I grew up and the way that I was raised, because I was raised on a farm. But the way that she spoke, acted, her mannerisms, her jokes, they all just kind of hit home for me. And like I said, that might be because of the way I was raised and the environment I was raised in, but it just had that like old school country southern mentality kind of talk with her, and I really enjoyed it. Now that we got all the people out of the way, the peoples and the awesome characters that are developed here, I will tell you that they all play their respective roles very well. And I would jump a little bit more ahead into what the show is actually about and what's developing in each episode. Throughout each episode, we are developing kind of like toward the first 5-ish episodes of this show. We're developing characters and narrative. And then after like the 4th, 5th, 6th episode, those 3 are kind of like the middle ground to find out like what the hell is going on and why this is happening. So during the 4th, 5th, and 6th episode, we find out that the demons that are coming back from hell, they represent a different element of the world or the universe. And it's the 5 elements you would think. It's earth, wind, fire, water, and ether. And they're basically elements trying to resurrect this main character that comes at the end of the show. And for me, each time there was a different episode, there was a different demon. Now for me, I thought that was a unique concept, that a different elemental demon would come back representing something in the way that they possessed another human. They always possessed the most terrible people that were advocated in the show. So it kind of made it out to be like these terrible people were kind of getting what they deserve, I guess. Like for example, there's this cheerleader who puts on this fake social media persona to get people to viciously attack or act out toward other people or to get money. There's a dirty cop, for example, that gets possessed and killed, and each one of them die in the way of the element of which the demon represents. So I thought that was a really unique spin that got put onto this show. Now, as I was saying before, Jennifer Nettles is in this. There's a lot of country music portrayal in this show. I think there's a whole soundtrack that was made for this show, which I thought was really cool because Kevin Bacon, he plays guitar and does music in his like outside of acting world. And it was cool for me to see him bridge the gap of being able to do both passions that he likes to do. So he's part of that country music soundtrack that they made for this show, and they basically do the soundtrack together. It's Jennifer Nettles, Kevin Bacon, and there's like I think 6 songs maybe that they did for this show. I liked most of them, and I'm not a big country music fan, but I thought they were pretty decent songs, especially the song that's played in the final episode. For sure, I added that to one of my playlists. Now, before I say anything else, let's just go out here and tell you I'm about to tell you about the last episode. So if you don't want to know about the last episode, you haven't watched it yet, just click off, come back, watch it after you watch the last episode. Okay? Just steer that clear. The finale of this show was kind of like a twist for me. Kind of predicted it a little bit, but still like a good twist for people who aren't, essentially going to pick out what's going to happen in shows and TV shows and movies like I do. Now, at the end of this episode, we find out that the elemental demons that were coming back that Hub was killing and sending back to hell was a served purpose by a demon angel in hell. So the demon angel in hell name is Lilith. And if you know anything about it, Lilith was said to be God's favorite angel who was banished to hell because the other angels manipulated her into joining the devil's reckoning. And then God banished her to hell because she was a singer. She loved to sing and music and all this other stuff, which ties in with the show. But God banished her to hell for joining the devil's reckoning. And she comes back to the earth as a demon angel, basically. So that is what happens in the last episode of this show. And it basically plays out like Marianne, who is played by Jennifer Nettles, gets possessed by this demon who crosses Hub and a deal that he made to set everybody else free. So the demon crosses him and then takes over Marianne's soul, leaving him as giving him basically an ultimatum that says you can either protect me and work for me, protect my soul, in exchange for me not killing Marianne. And that's where it ends. Boom. Cliffhanger. As I thought there would be. Now, I hope they make a season 2. There's a lot of things. Now, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, but have you ever got attached to a TV series or a Netflix series and, you know, you get really into it and you're like, man, that was pretty decent. I really hope they make another season of that. And a few years passes by and you're like, man, I wonder what happened to that TV series I was watching. You know, you check into it and you're like, man, you know, Google, what's going on with this TV series I was watching? And then you find out it was fucking canceled. Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen with this show. I hope they continue it for at least a couple seasons to explain the rest of what's going on. Because the cliffhanger leaves you wondering, like, if Hub is going to join forces with Lilith, or if he's going to try and work against her, or what's going to happen with that. And like I said, there's a killer song that plays at the end, too, that kind of ties it all together. That song's called Death's Woe, I believe is what it's called. Or Woe Death, or something like that. Really good, check that one out. But, you know, I hope that they keep this show going at least for a couple more seasons to explain everything that's happening and to tie all the loose ends that were left from this season. All right, so with that, let's talk about my positives. I don't really have too many negatives, a couple here and there. So I will say that we're going off the rip here, but I do have a lot of positives. The first one for me is that the cinematography for this, I thought this was a movie whenever I was going into this. I didn't know it was a TV show because I didn't dive that much into it. I just seen it popped up on Amazon, and I was like, well, whatever, let's watch it. And I thought it was a movie at first, and I turned it on, and the first episode ended, and I was like, wow, that was a short movie. And I was like, oh, this must be a TV series. But the cinematography in it, the atmosphere is shot really, really well to where it made me believe that I was watching a full-fledged AAA movie, not just a Prime TV show. I will say again, I said this a little bit earlier, but all the acting in this is really well done. There is a younger, probably teenage kid who plays Cade. His name is Max Jenkins. He's okay in this show. He plays his part enough. But the rest of the characters in this are standout. Like, all the main characters anyway. The side roles, like, you know, it's like they're there to serve their purpose. But all the main characters in this show really play their parts well. Now, this is a southern kind of like action kind of show. I think it takes place in Georgia. And the majority of the show feels very southern. You know, it feels like you're representing in Georgia and you're representing that kind of demographic. And it goes a long way, you know, to put that kind of focus into just a TV show to make you feel like all these acting parts are played and portrayed the way that they should be. The plot for this is really good. I thought it was unique, different take on something that really hasn't been done too much. Yes, there's different movies and stuff that kind of touch base on these kind of things, but not to this degree where there's like music and, you know, the southern atmosphere, the action, the comedy. You know, it all kind of fits well together. And the way that I liked it the most was whenever there was something serious going on, and you know, they were developing these characters and developing the plot. And then just out of nowhere, something crazy, stupid would happen. And then somebody would say something funny, like Kitty's character would say something out of left field to Hub that would just make him feel like a jackass. Those were the kind of things that really stood out to me in this. So I really enjoyed that too. My last big positive here, I will tell you, is about the soundtrack. Like I stated a little bit ago, really well done. I'm not a big country music fan. Like, I like the oldies, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Hank Williams, stuff like that. I like that more southern country than I do like this more pop country that's developed this era of whatever country is now. I don't really care for this era of country music. I think like the way that this is set up, it kind of brings you back to those country roots a little bit. The last song especially, it definitely sounds like an old Southern song, and I think that's really good. So it kind of blends in with the atmosphere of the show, kind of blends in with the atmosphere of the characters too. So I really enjoyed the soundtrack. The blood and gore in this, the design and the effects also, they are pretty decent. I wouldn't put them on like super subpar level, but they're good. You know, the ways that people die and the way they represent The gore in this is nice. A lot of it is CGI, you can tell. And I think, for me, you guys know, I'm a big practical effects dude. I love practical effects. Some of it looks practical. Some of it looks very CGI. There's a blend of it, and it's kind of mixed for me on that one. I wouldn't call it a negative or a positive. I think it's just done okay. Now, my only really big negative in this is that I think it left a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of things floating in the ether. So there's a lot of things that happen throughout the show that they don't really touch base on, and maybe that's because they are developing another season of it. Like I said, it was left on a cliffhanger, but maybe they're going to touch base on it in the second season if it doesn't fucking get canceled. But regardless, there's a lot of unanswered questions that happen throughout with all the other underlining character development that just do not come subfold toward the end of the show. Alright folks, that'll do it for this one for me. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, share, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I appreciate everything you guys do for the channel. Remember to check under your beds. Stay safe out there, everybody.